So, the real Checkmk Cloud is here, our first ever SaaS product. Hi, I'm Jonas from the Checkmk product team.
And hello to everyone, I'm Christian.
When we stood here last year, we invited you in this room to be the first beta testers of Checkmk Cloud. And we'd like to thank so many of you for your very active participation and the time you generally invested in this. And a lot has happened since. So in February, we officially launched Checkmk Cloud as a SaaS product next to our existing self-hosted version of Checkmk Cloud. And the launch itself, after all these years of hard work, was remarkably boring, which is actually a really good thing. And in no small part thanks to you and the other over 250 beta testers we had. We were very confident in being able to launch a good product when we did. So it's time for an update. What is Checkmk Cloud? How and what did we learn from our users? And what's ahead for it? So in a nutshell, Checkmk Cloud is fast, secure, and hassle-free monitoring for any cloud and server infrastructure. It's a hosted monitoring tool, and it's built to be secure and readily available at any time. And it's great for businesses that prefer and prioritize predictability and flexibility as they scale. And for most SaaS tools, there are some things that are universally true, not just for us, when it comes to what users expect from it in terms of user experience. And we're no exception there. So a SaaS product needs to be immediately useful, it needs to be always up to date, and it needs to have great user onboarding. And all of these were unique challenges to solve for the team behind the product. And let's take a closer look at one of them, onboarding specifically. So you already heard from Vontek about quick setup and from Tanya about setting up notifications. And these are great steps that Checkmk is taking in general towards better user onboarding. But Christian, how specifically did we approach onboarding for Checkmk Cloud well before they even get to that stage? So taking users by the hand from the very first time they've set foot into the product.
Yes, very good question. So first of all, we need to ask ourselves what is an indicator for good onboarding. And what we set ourselves as an indicator is the amount of hosts being configured, because that's a very good approximation. So basically, the goal that we set to our user onboarding was to make it as easy as possible for our users to monitor their first host.
Is there a starting point that we took off from?
Yes. So when we initially looked at the numbers, we saw that less than 20% of the sites that we had during beta testing did monitor at least one host.
So basically, unless we really change the number and raise the number of hosts people monitor, our onboarding probably wasn't working.
Exactly. That's what it is.
And how do we tackle that? What do we do?
Our approach was to give users information that's very concise, that they can follow. And we wanted to give them a step-by-step guide with exact instructions what to do. And this was basically our first shot. You can see it up here on the screen. And so you see all of the information, everything you need to do. You have a nice screenshot. You have a nice step-by-step guide.
How did that work out?
Well, it didn't turn out to be all that great, because when we rolled it out, we looked at our goal, at the number of configured hosts, and we saw that it didn't significantly move beyond the initial 20%.
Do you have an idea, or did we have an idea back then why that was?
Yeah, we had the crazy idea to ask users, so what is the issue? And basically what they reported to us is that the problem essentially is that it's impossible to do your configuration at the same time that you look at the instructions. So the screen gaze basically gets into your way. So what we did is that we came up with this beautiful beautiful screen. And the good thing about it is that it has a very clear navigation concept. It also has this nice green slider at the side, so that allows you to move it back and forth, so that you can see the instructions and at the same time, or very easily, get back to your Checkmk site, to the configuration you have to make, and then you can basically do both simultaneously.
Cool. So we got the onboarding out of the way of the user. Did that change things? Did it help?
It changed things significantly. But we, in the end, still didn't quite achieve the goal that we had. So we did some additional UX tests, and basically what we saw is that some users like to use the guide, but not all of them. So basically the conclusion was, it's helpful, but not for all users.
Cool. What was the next idea to tackle that?
Yeah, so what we thought is, okay, the guide is nice. It helps us some way along the, some part along the way, but basically we need to be a little bit more proactive, and that's what we did. And this is the screen that we have today, that we're currently using, and yeah, that's what we currently have in the product.
Cool. And did it pay off to change course like that?
Yes, so that really did the trick. So we tried this out. Even with new users, we saw this was really helpful. So even someone who's not had any experience with Checkmk before could easily configure their first host. And also when we looked at our KPI, at our numbers of configured hosts per site, so that moved from the initial 20% to over 50%, so we doubled that number. And yeah, so that was a great success. And so the question is, how did we achieve that? So I mentioned that already. So the good thing is when we work on those kind of problems, and you've heard it today from previous presentations as well, is that we're not doing this on our own. So we're working together with you on that, and basically with your help. So we had a long beta phase. We worked together with a lot of beta testers who are probably also in this room. We did a couple of UX tests, different iterations, and took in your feedback, and this really helped us to significantly improve our onboarding, as you could see. So thanks a lot for all of your help and your collaboration on this topic, and to make this really a great success. But now moving on, so Jonas, what other cool stuff is happening for Checkmk Cloud?
Phew, you know what? I think that's a little bit above my pay grade. But luckily, we have this new thing, this chatbot. Let's ask that. Maybe it can help us.
Go for
it. Checkmk, how is Checkmk Cloud paving the way for Checkmk in general? Well, so we learned that users love great onboarding. I got really positive feedback for it. So this is an area we'll continue to invest in. Expect great things and better things to come out of this, to take you further along in that journey and cover even more use cases. We also learned in the discovery phase very early on that transparent pricing and flexible pricing is a priority. And so we're bringing even more commercial offerings to market, starting with monthly subscriptions for Checkmk Cloud coming this year. And then, as Jan already told you, Checkmk Cloud will also be the first Checkmk product to have AI capabilities natively built into the product for you to use, like this very chatbot that we're seeing now. But the most fundamental change that came out of bringing a SaaS product to market in Checkmk Cloud, and that made us create teams that we didn't have before and brought capabilities into the company that didn't exist before this project, was operating Checkmk at scale. So all in all, lots of innovative stuff coming to Checkmk Cloud and to wider Checkmk. But what about the more immediate future of Checkmk Cloud, Christian?
Yes. So first of all, what we want to do is to enable you to use your own IDP together with Checkmk Cloud, and that's why we bring SSO to Checkmk Cloud, and this will happening this year. So this is something that we will release this year. So next up is basically the big thing. So we got a lot of feedback on that. That's something that's really heavily demanded, and this is the possibility to monitor SNMP-based devices, so network devices like routers, switches, firewalls, and the like, with Checkmk Cloud. And the way we want to do that is basically by building a completely new entity, which is a probe that basically runs in your network, collects the data, and then basically pushes it to the site. That's obviously just like a very rough summary, so Lars will tell you a lot more about how it exactly works tomorrow. And as mentioned before, so if you are interested in helping us to shape this, please reach out to me. It's my email here. We have a booth over there, the Future Fair. There's always someone from the team, so please approach them. If you like Jonas better than me, you can also approach Jonas and ask him. But yeah, it would be really, really super valuable for us if we could do this together. Then next up, so basically this whole probe concept is something that we also want to reuse or that we want to build on top of. So we not stop it just with SNMP devices, but we also want to extend it beyond that, so that we can also use that to monitor other resources that are also in closed networks, so something like VMware cluster storage systems and the like. Basically everything that's monitored via mostly via special agents. So there's a lot of stuff coming for Checkmk Cloud. There's a lot of stuff already happening this year and then later on. So if you have not tried it out yet, please do so. There's a QR code. If you don't want to scan it right now, go to admin.checkmk.cloud. Sign up, test it, let us know what you think about it.